Welcome to the Top of the Progs podcast with Ruben Jones, only on Smile Radio. If you'd like to support Smile Radio so we can continue to be the beacon for unsigned and independent music, please go to our website www.smileradio.co. You can become a Patreon or you can just simply make a donation. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Smile Radio 3, Facebook at Smile Radio Yorkshire. Thank you and enjoy the podcast.
Hello and welcome to Top of the Progs on Smile Radio. You're currently listening to the In the Dead of Night Suite by UK from their landmark 1978 self-titled debut album. I hope you enjoy it.
Are you one of mine who can sleep with one eye open wide? clouds moving grace, guided thunder, kinetic sunrise, fever and flood, fire and water, element and wood, rise, melt into blood, by the light of day, by the light of day. Silent wheel, bouncing in, power and glory glowing fierce, love the dream that some pretend accelerates an early end. By the light of day, by the light of day.
For me, that whole suite is one of the finest pieces of music that was ever committed to tape during the 1970s. I think 2020 has been a terrible year for everybody, but one positive is that I have discovered and fallen in love with the band UK. Both two albums are now, for me, up there with everything else that prog rock has to offer. UK started out as an enigma to me, as backtalk in pubs, and you'd read occasional online forums where someone would mention Eddie Jobson or something like that, or a bit about UK. And when I was gigging with legendary progressive rock covers band Harmony of Spheres, that song would come on a lot of the time before gigs, and I'd be like, oh, it's that cool one, it's that one with that cool guitar solo, and it's only this year that I've really dived into it, and it's become one of my favourite albums of all time. I think Eddie Jobson's keyboard work and writing on that is brilliant, John Wetton's vocal, Bill Bruford's drumming, and of course Alan Holdsworth's solo, and they just fit together so perfectly to create 13 minutes of pure prog awesomeness. Anyway, hello and welcome to Top of the Progs on Smile Radio. Thank you for joining me once again for a fine selection of progressive rock. Moving on from the epic, scary In the Dead of Night suite, we have got something a little bit lighter from a very curious album by David Bowie. David Bowie had done the glam years, he'd done Ziggy, he'd done Aladdin Sane, and he just completed the Plastic Soul years, sort of young American sort of thing. And for his next album, it was all going wrong in David Bowie's personal life at this point. He was a massive drug taker. There's stories about him storing his own urine in the fridge and things like that. And he created an album called Station to Station. It is a really weird album. He created the Thin White Duke persona. It is so weird. And it is the only David Bowie album that David Bowie himself has no recollection of recording. He'd say he'd hear a bit of Station to Station on the radio, or he'd listen back to it at home and he'd think, well, I can't remember writing or recording any of this. But anyway, this is one of the best songs from Station to Station. It's a really fun sort of little pop song, very similar to what he did on his Young Americans album, but I absolutely love it. This is Golden Years by David Bowie.
Don't let me hear you say life's taking you nowhere. Angel, come little baby. Look at that sky, life's begun. Nights are warm and the days are young. Come little baby. There's my baby lost, that's all. Once I'm begging you save a little. Golden years, go. Come little baby. Last night they loved you, opening doors and pulling some strings. Angel, come little baby. Then walk luck and you looked in time. Never looked back, walk tall, act fine. Come little baby. I'll stick with you, baby, for 1,000 years. Nothing's gonna touch you in these golden years. Golden years, go. Come little baby. Some of these days and it won't be long. Gonna drive back down where you once belonged, in the back of a dream car 20 foot long. Don't cry, my sweet, don't break my heart. Doing all right, you've gotta get smart. Wish upon day upon day. I believe, oh Lord, I believe all the way. Run for the shadows, run for the shadows, run for the shadows in these golden years. There's my baby lost, that's all. Once I'm begging you save a little. Golden years, go. Come little baby. Don't let me hear you say life's taking you nowhere. Angel, come little baby. Run for the shadows, run for the shadows, run for the shadows in these golden years. I'll stick with you, baby, for 1,000 years. Nothing's gonna touch you in these golden years. Golden years, yes. Golden years, go.
What's really fun about Golden Years is it's a bit silly, but I think it's got some very deep things in the lyrics of that song, like "Don't hear me say life's taking you nowhere." Everyone at one point is able to relate to that lyric, and it's just an absolutely brilliant song. It sounds very similar, as I said, to what he did on his Young Americans album, but still, nonetheless, it's a great song from station to station. Moving on from David Bowie now to a little bit of Rush, with a song from the band's 1980 landmark album, Permanent Waves. This came in an interesting time in Rush's history, as they'd done the big prog years. They'd had 2112, they'd had Farewell to Kings, and they had the huge Hemispheres album, and after that they decided, let's just do a bunch of short songs. And you know what? They did the short songs really well. On this album you had Spirit of the Radio, you had Jacob's Ladder, and you had this next song. This song is called Free Will by Rush. think Free Will works really well on that album because it's such a nice contrast to Spirit of the Radio, their massive hit song which came before, and it follows the classic Rush song structure of complex bit, cool riff, singing, solo, cool riff, outro. But you know what? It works every time and it creates brilliant results every time it is used. Now we've got a bit of Radiohead. This week I've been listening to OK Computer absolutely loads. I've been playing it absolutely non-stop and I am convinced it is great. I don't know why, but I used to listen to it a lot when I was about 15 and 16. I think I bought the CD of it in a charity shop and I played it occasionally. But recently I've been really getting back into the album. I've really forgotten how awesome of an album it is. This next song was track 1 off 1997's legendary OK Computer. This song is called Airbag. I think Airbag is probably the ultimate statement song. It's track one from OK Computer, and I can imagine to Radiohead were probably thinking at the time, they were probably saying, this is who we are now, you know the Bends, you've heard Creep, you like all that stuff, this is who we are now, and we're not going to change it, and we like the way we are. I feel like that's what that song is really about. It's really this is what OK Computer is, and if you don't like it, listen to something else. But it is a brilliant song. Really, really dark, got some brilliant production ideas, and yet it's got a really happy major chorus. I think it's a really nice contrast and works really, really well. Anyway, now it's time for this week's Hidden Gems. Now, last week I was fanboying over the new remaster, re-release, re-imaging, all that good stuff of Pink Floyd's 1988 concert film A Delicate Sound of Thunder. Now, I was pouring through the soundtrack, and I noticed there were a couple of tracks that were not included on the live concert, and this is for a few reasons. One of the reasons is because, to get technical, they shot on film, and film cameras can only hold so much film. So while the film was being switched over and while the cameras were being refilled, there were a couple of songs that were played that were never captured on the video. And this first one is our first hidden gem. It is a very, very odd choice. When I saw it, I was almost thought it was a joke or an error. I thought, no, they didn't. There's no way they played that live. You see, on that show, they played most of Dark Side of the Moon, the big moments of Wish You Were Here, basically Wish You Were Here, and Shine On You Crazy Diamond, and they played most of the Momentary Lapse album, as that was what they were plugging at the time. But in retrospect, it seems a really odd choice that they chose this next song, and I honestly think this version is as good as, if not better than, the original, apart from the ending. But apart from that, David Gilmour's vocals have improved so much on this version compared with the original. It's like night and day. But anyway, they could have played something like Breathe. They could have played a song off Meddle. That would have been really great. They could have played Astronomy Domini at this point. But no, after they'd done a lot of material off Dark Side, they decided to go dark. And I mean really, really, really dark with Welcome to the Machine. I know, I couldn't imagine it until I put it on, and it is phenomenal. This is Pink Floyd, Welcome to the Machine, live in 1988. This was the only time it was ever played live after the Wish You Were Here tour. Up until the last couple of minutes, I think that is the best version of Welcome to the Machine. I don't really like when the drums kick in towards the end. I think it detracts a tiny, tiny bit from the piece, but on the whole, it's brilliant. It's the last track you would think of that Pink Floyd would perform live. I mean, it's Welcome to the Machine. I always thought it was a studio-only track. You know, there's reverse cymbal swells, that synth solo, but it was the 80s, it was the decade of big drums and shaking things up, so I can let that end bit off a little bit, but man, the vocals are just absolutely chilling in that song. I think David Gilmour had been in the machine for a considerably longer amount of time since when he recorded that song, and the conviction in that vocal really, really shows, and I think it's one of Roger Waters' finest lyrical moments, that song. This week's Next Hidden Gem is something a lot more complicated, but a little lighter. This is a song by the legendary progressive sort of jazz fusion band Gong from their album Expressio 2, released in 1978. This song is simply called Heavy Tune. I really enjoy pieces of music like that are sort of halfway between a written composition and a jam, because there's something so exciting about when you're having a jam and things don't start and happen at certain points. You know, like someone will come in on bar 3 instead of bar 4, and it creates these really, really magical sort of happy accident sort of thing, which I really, really enjoy, and the part of the reason why I like prog rock and prog music and improvised music so much. It's a really great track there from Gong. Moving on from Gong now, we've got a bit of a B-sidey sort of track from Peter Gabriel, which I still really enjoy and think it's really underrated. It's from his epic third album, which is called Peter Gabriel, obviously, from the year 1980, and it's sort of the second to last track on side 2, and it gets overlooked because of what comes before and after. Before it, you've got things like No Self-Control and Start, and then afterwards you have the incredible Biko, but this is a really simple, almost ambient at times piece of music that goes to some really dark places, and it's all about being famous and being different, and it's called Lead a Normal Life. It's Peter Gabriel woeing and saying, why can't I just lead a normal life?
It's nice here with a view of the trees, eating with a spoon, they don't give you knives. Expect you watch those trees blowing in the breeze. We want to see you lead a normal life.
I get the sense that Peter Gabriel put that on his album really as filler, but I think in filling 3 minutes, he really, really created something profound and something to be really, really proud of. It's really, really weird, and I honestly find it quite a scary piece of music, you know, when it all kicks in and you can sort of hear him singing after those beautiful passages of marimba come in, you hear him singing, and then you hear that weird, distorted screaming noise. And I've just noticed then something I've never noticed before about the song, is that if you listen really, really closely when there's the piano, you can hear someone sighing in the left channel. Really creepy odd stuff there from Peter Gabriel. We're now unfortunately nearing the end of this week's show, and I would like to end it on a slightly sad note, unfortunately, as I was reminded by a friend the other day that this Wednesday just gone would have been the day where I would have been sat in the audience in Leeds at the First Direct Arena watching Genesis. Now, unfortunately, life gets in the way, and that didn't happen, and I was really gutted about it. I'd completely forgotten it was supposed to be that day until I was reminded, and then it was it was one of those ton of bricks moments where everything just hits you and you just think, oh no. But anyway, that's life, isn't it? And things like that. But anyway, I'd like to end with the Genesis classic, one from their 1978 album, And Then There Were Three. A slightly controversial album among Genesis fans because they lost Peter Gabriel and now Steve Hackett is gone, and as the album title suggests, it's just the three boys left. But it's got some brilliant songs on it, specifically this last one penned by Mike Rutherford. And it is, a bit of trivia, one of Jack Black's favourite songs of all time. I once read that in an article, and I thought it was very cool, but very weird. Anyway, it's a brilliant song. It's got some brilliant vocals on it, some really odd drumming from Phil Collins, and one of Tony Banks' finest ever synthesizer moments. He was using his ARP 2600 to full effect, and people might say this is just a dumb pop song, but it is one of the best dumb pop songs ever written. This is Follow You, Follow Me by Genesis. Thank you all for listening. Have a good week. Goodbye.